You bought a house. You could have bought a brand new mountain bike, but you didn't.
Connor and Bethany just bought their first home, and that meant making some sacrifices, like using this old Kona when they could have bought a brand new bike. And why not? This is a good bike, and Bethany loves this old Kona. She doesn't want a new one, but clearly it needs some work. It has safety issues. The fork doesn't fork, the brakes are broke, and look at how long this head tube is. I don't even have a fork that will fit this, but we need to do something, because what Connor and Bethany are about to find out is that after you buy your first home, you continue bleeding money for a long time. So let's give them another 5 years on this Kona. Judging by that bottom bracket and these pedals, I'm thinking this headset is gonna be bone dry. What do you think? Oh, that doesn't sound good. I have got a lot to say, so please bear with me. This bike was never high-end, but I think the frame is absolutely beautiful. I love the color, I love the contrast, I love all the scratches. I'm gonna leave it just how it is, including this hub sticker, because this bike has a story and we wanna keep it going. Now, I met Connor through Matt from Matt's Off-Road Recovery. Connor works at Barnes 4-Wheel Drive, which is right down the road from me. And according to him, like 5 people who worked there owned this bike at one point. Each of them handed it down to the next person by saying, hey, do you want a Kona I never maintained? Yeah, I didn't realize how rough this bike was until I started taking it apart, but because it's beautiful and because it's from a different era, I wanna be really, really tasteful with the upgrades. I don't wanna give it that upgraded bike look. I want it to look right. So let's start with some bad news and some worse news. Which one do you wanna hear first? The bad news is one of the most important parts, this fork barely moves. I mean, it is completely clapped out. And the worst news is I don't have a replacement for it. I looked all over the bike parts bins and I can't find one with a long enough steerer tube. This thing is huge. Look at this head tube. We're gonna have to restore this. Higher end forks take bath oil, which drips out of the lowers when you take it apart. This one does not, so that means that was water. Rusty, nasty water. But the good news is this fork is totally savable. We just need to clean it up and replace a few parts. This is messy work. We have to get the rust off the parts that matter here and then kind of smooth it out. I'll be replacing the bushings, the wiper seals, the grease, and then this fork should pretty much run like new. The stanchions are not perfectly smooth, but it's not gonna hurt anything. They'll easily be able to get another 5 years of good performance out of this fork. A few parts and $900 worth of labor, and this $40 fork is gonna run like new. I never want to look at this fork ever again, and so we're gonna put it back on the bike right now. I have a new headset. This is the crown race. It goes on the fork. It's called a crown race because it's a bearing race, and this is the crown where it goes. These two cups are gonna get pressed into the head tube, and that's where the bearings sit. guess we're gonna have to use a lot of spacers. Yes, we're keeping the factory stem cap, the factory stem, and the factory handlebars. They're all Kona, they match this bike. They're a good pairing. We're gonna upgrade some things, but I wanna preserve what this bike actually is. Next up, we are not going into these pedals yet. Let's take a look at the wheels. Look, I'm no forensic bike mechanic, but based on what we've seen so far, these hubs are going to need service, and maybe even the free hub. Let's just go to town on this wheel. So now I've got everything off except for this free hub body. I don't think it's used or serviceable. Now I can just blast this whole wheel with a pressure washer and get it clean, because I don't have to worry about washing dirt into the bearings. We're gonna clean those up and put this back together. You can restore an old set of wheels like this back to like new condition with just grease, assuming the bearing races are still smooth. As long as the axle is through the hub, the little ball bearings won't fall out, and then you hold it in place to flip it over and do the other side. I like to put it down on the bench so that something is pushing on the axle and preventing it from falling out. Now, you don't want to over tighten your bearings, but similarly, you do not want them too loose because that could cause damage. On a quick release wheel, you have to get it tight so that there's no play, and then back off a little bit so that actually you can feel it moving around just the slightest bit. Because when you tighten down that quick release skewer, it's actually going to tighten the bearings a tiny bit more, and then there will be no play. So it's kind of by feel. Yeah, that's perfect. Now, let's say you drop one of these pesky little guys, and after 6 weeks of searching, you cannot find it. Luckily, you can actually find these at most hardware stores. You just have to measure one of them with a caliper and make sure that it's the same. And although the rims themselves are not nearly as out of whack as I thought, we're gonna line them up and check the tension to make sure everything's kosher. After all, we know these wheels have never been touched before. Next, we're gonna install this crankset. It's a takeoff crankset. I don't remember what I took it off of, probably another flip bike, but we are going to modernize it in that these 2 chain rings are coming off and 1 chain ring's going back on it. So now that our cranks are installed, we can have some real fun. There's a lot more to do on this bike, but we're gonna get into one more nightmare. What gets installed on cranks? Pedals. We're going there. These are decent alloy pedals with replaceable pins. I wanna save them. They've been dry for probably a really, really long time, but if we get in here and the bearing races look okay, we can clean them up, repack them, and use them again. Then we can really dig into the pedal and see what's going on. So 14 per side of the pedal, so there should be 28 per pedal. I'm missing 2 from the first one. So do I look around the shop for 6 months, go to the hardware store, or get some takeoff pedals from upstairs? Let's meet in the middle and go to the hardware store. They redid the entire hardware aisle here, and while that's great, where they used to keep the ball bearings is no longer here. So I'm gonna leave this in the video because it's a teaching moment, but also I wanna have an old man moment and reminisce about riding my bike to Radio Shack to buy a single diode. You can't buy anything in stores anymore, and that's increasingly so. A couple of months ago, I could have gotten that ball bearing. But we still have tomorrow, and I can have these ball bearings by 4 a.m., so we're not gonna give up on the pedals. Let's move on to the drivetrain. By the looks of it, this derailleur hanger is out of whack. The right thing to do is replace it. So I'm gonna see if we have one. If we don't, we'll align this one. Now, using a gauge to align a derailleur hanger is perfectly fine, perfectly kosher, depending on how many times it's been done. But seeing that we're repacking the bearings and doing all this work, the right thing to do is to send them home with a brand new derailleur hanger. Okay, it's the morning, and I've got this, not the coffee, the ball bearings. So I've got what we need here, but before we dig back into those pedals, we're gonna finish what we started and get down to the brakes. There exist great mechanical disc brakes. I have them on my cargo bike, but these are not it, and they're pretty worse for wear, not worth restoring them. I would rather put an inexpensive set of Shimano hydraulic disc brakes on this bike. Connor specifically mentioned, I don't care what you do with this bike, like we're just thankful, but can you please put hydraulic disc brakes on it because Bethany will flip when she finally feels them. The bike first came with these 160mm rotors. I changed the front one to 180. So we need this 20mm adapter to move the caliper out to make up the difference. I know we've gone over this a million times, but you leave the caliper bolt loose, and then when you squeeze the brake lever, it actually aligns it, and then you tighten it down, centered with the rotor. Now we're gonna make the shift cable and the brake hose the same length, mainly for cosmetics so it looks nice and neat, but also you could argue that the less hose, the better. I considered drilling the frame for a dropper post, but not that many dropper posts that size, and this kind of goes more with the theme of the bike. You can adjust the seat this way. It's a lot like those KS Exaform dropper posts, only this one starts with a KO, just like Kona, Kong Ming car. Didn't cost much, and it's gonna be easier for Melanie to adjust the seat. I guess right now I'm in a merciful mood because putting this original saddle back on, it's just so big and probably really, really comfortable, and I think Melanie would miss it. All right, we're on to the pedals finally. Now, you can see the pedal axis, spindle, whatever you want to call it. The black coating has been worn away here, and so we have to turn it black again, and we're gonna use gun bluing fluid. Ooh, not much of that left. So that's one side of one pedal. Long ago, there might have been a piece of rubber over here that blocked ingress. I am going to use this little O-ring and see if it fits around here and doesn't rub too much. quite nice. So could I have spray painted these and replaced all the pins? Yes, and they would look brand new. But instead, they're working like new and they look old. They're just so nicely worn, I didn't feel like doing that. We're far from done here. There were a variety of things in the bike when we first got it. Connor and Melanie liked being prepared. 2 inner tubes, 2 tire levers, a multi-tool, and they had a pump that was barely hanging on to the down tube. Rather than just strap all this stuff back onto the bike, I think we can do something special for them. This bottle cage is made to strap inner tubes to, and I have this multi-tool which clips to the bottle cage, so it should all be together in one neat package. And I got them 2 TPU inner tubes, which are gonna save space and weight. Now they have the 2 inner tubes, the multi-tool, and the bottle cage that the bike came with. But what about that imitation toe peak pump that was just holding on for dear life? Well, I custom designed and 3D printed a pump mount that fits their Peakini pump perfectly with just pressure. It's gonna snap into place, absolutely sturdy enough to mountain bike with, and we'll reuse this perfectly good pump. We're getting really close here, but as you can see, there's a lot of damage on the frame, places where the paint has gotten scraped away. I want to give this bike a new beginning, but I also don't want to forget about its past. And so, I designed and printed on vinyl these Kona Band-Aids, so we can remember all the things that happened to this bike while still giving it that new, fresh beginning. All right, with the Band-Aids installed, I think it's time to stare at this bike. This bike came out amazing. It looks beautiful, and I'm not even exaggerating about that. Bikes from this era didn't yet undergo the radical transformation that we see in modern mountain bikes, and they're just beautiful and simple, and this is a really good example. But I'm gonna prepare to ride with Bethany and Connor, and there are a few things I have to do. First of all, I forgot the tire levers. They have to get strapped back on there. Second of all, I accidentally put the pedal bodies on the wrong spindles. And so in all that restoration, the right pedal is on the left and the left pedal is on the right. It's not as simple as swapping them. I actually have to take them apart and transfer the spindles. Some of you may have also noticed that I changed the saddle. I just couldn't deal with that Nishiki saddle. I will hand it to them, and if they want to install it, they can. And finally, I did say in this video that I wanted this to get them another 5 years. I think this will get them another 10. If you stole bikes in the hood as a kid, you know exactly how to do this. Connor and Bethany will be here in a few minutes. I believe this was Bethany's first mountain bike, which she learned to ride on, and it's all she's ridden. And she was riding it the way it was when I first got it. The fork was barely working, and actually the preload was up all the way. The drivetrain made all sorts of noise. The hubs needed service. I'm surprised the bike could even steer with the way the headset was. And those Prolapse brakes were really bad. So I'm gonna leave this bike here, hope that nobody steals it, and meet them in the parking lot. Was that Kona your first mountain bike?
Yeah, as an adult, yeah. It was never maintained, but like it never let any of us down. Like it never left any of us stranded.
It's a really good bike. So yeah, let's head on across the street.
Dude, that is sick.
That's so nice.
Oh, it's got Band-Aids on it.
Oh, you noticed the Band-Aids. Those are custom. They cover up all of the gouges in there. And that is the same pump that you had, but I designed a new mount for it, so it just snaps in and out of place there. This is a new drivetrain as well, just shifting on the right side, and that's gonna do everything. The derailleur has a clutch, so that big thing that was wrapped around there to stop the chain from hitting.
No more slapping.
You can just reach down and change the saddle height on the fly like that. So if you're going down something, you can drop it. Feel the brakes.
Oh, that's so nice. Now I feel safe.
Let's head down the trail. Usually, an old hardtail is easy to restore almost no matter what, but the fact that I didn't have a fork that fit that head tube meant I couldn't just replace it, and so it took a lot of time and effort to get it running again. The pedals were my fault, as I'm the one who decided to repair a very old and inexpensive set of alloy pedals. And I could have been more careful in not installing the spindles on the wrong pedal body. Between that, some other things, and the neglected nature of this Kona, it ended up being much more work than I anticipated, but it was worth it. We saved a beautiful bike instead of replacing it, and now Connor and Bethany won't be tempted to go out and buy a new one. He was on a really rough path, hanging out with a rough group of people.
It's got its life together now, and it's going to school, and we're gonna keep it that way.
Acting in a smart and responsible manner seems like it takes effort. You really feel like you're missing out when you hold off on buying something new. But I ask you, what's wrong with that Kona? It was fun in 2012, why not now? I hope you enjoyed restoring this bike with me today. If you're interested in my priority shirt, it's available in the link below, as well as a whole playlist of flip bike videos. Thanks for riding with me today, and I'll see you next time.